name's Liz, and I wanted to come on and do a warm up and a little bit of somatic practice. I was getting ready to go to the gym and thought I would come outside and do some stretching. And maybe it'll just be by myself, and maybe people will catch the replay. Either way, I just wanted to share some good body based practices for feeling into and grounding ourselves with all the energy. So I'm starting a hero pose, and please listen to your body and go gentle. But first we're going to be grounding with some breath. And right now I'm feeling really called to ground in with the energy, and Marlo's coming here to remind you about grounding, to ground in, plug into the earth energy to help you to ground. Feeling a lot of supportive energy in the field from this Gaia and source energy wanting to help us ground all the things that are happening right now. So I'm kind of feeling this week a week in time of pause and reflection and integration. Like I mentioned in one of my last videos, lots of heart changes and upgrades. And so one of the ways that I have really found helped me to navigate all this is through somatic practices. And my favorite way is through movement and somatic breathing. Today we might just do some gentle belly breaths or diaphragmatic breathing, and then we'll do some gentle movement. And this is one of the best ways we can move energy in the body, and the breath is obviously like the easiest way to access and change our somatic state of awareness, and being able to access more regulated states of being in our autonomic nervous system. Nervous system. I'm having a hard time getting that one out. So if you want to just take a moment to ground yourself, sitting comfortably wherever you are. I'm just kind of letting my body guide me to how it wants to sit. And so I invite you to do the same. Begin taking some belly breaths, and that meaning letting the air come into the lower belly, filling up as you inhale, and then the diaphragm. And then you can open mouth exhale and even let out a sigh if you like. Thank you for joining. I'm planning on doing just like a 15-20 minute warm-up. Maybe it'll be a little longer. But I just wanted to bring the energy of grounding and also Reiki as well. I did call in the support from the elementals and the different elements that I work with, that of earth, air, fire, solar, lunar, and ether, and water. So I was sharing that I was feeling lots of support from the earth realm of wanting to help us ground some energies that are coming through right now. And I'm just inviting you to join me in taking some diaphragmatic breaths, starting with filling the belly with air, and then the chest last, diaphragm, and holding for a moment, and then letting that go. Nice. We'll do 2 more. Belly, chest, and then open mouth exhale. Belly, chest, and letting it go. Nice. And I'm going to start in a comfortable cross-legged or Sukhasana seated position as I start to allow my spine to plug into the earth, and my sit bones or my hip bones to root into the earth, providing that connection. And then I'm going to continue to breathe through the nose in using what's called Ujjayi breath in yoga, where you can inhale in through the nose, taking long inhales, and exhale out through the nose. But you can breathe however feels comfortable for you. And the point is to just start inviting intuitive movement in the body. So I'm going to start as I'm breathing, beginning to do some Kundalini rotations with the spine. Just kind of practicing letting my body go to however it wants to go, however it's feeling like it needs to move the energy through. Ooh, it's been really warm where I am today, so I've been doing some errands in the car a lot, and I just was feeling the need to move before I get to the gym and do a little more movement. If you didn't hear me in the beginning, since some of you I think are joining in later, my name's Liz. I'm a licensed social worker and also an energy empath. I'm a master Reiki practitioner and also a yoga teacher. In one of my past versions of me, I taught yoga on the paddleboard. So anyways, welcome. You're very welcome here. Okay, and we're gonna reach up with the arms if you're joining me. Extending through the spine, allowing the sunlight in. If you want to take a bend over to either side. If you feel like joining me, you're welcome to join. And if not, you can just come as you are. And then we'll reach the arms up. And then extending to the opposite side. And just taking a forward fold. Continuing your breath. And then I'm going to transition onto all fours. You're welcome to join me, coming into a tabletop. Feel free to take any open mouth exhales as you feel the need to release in your body. That might happen. Might look like yawns. Okay, so coming into tabletop, your wrists are under the shoulders and your knees are stacked under the hips. And we'll start with doing a wobbly table. This is one of my favorite ways to warm up and just start to come into presence with my body and its needs. And just noticing if there's any areas that you want to pause in and starting to link your breath with the movement. Totally normal if you lost track of being with your breath. You can just come back to it at any time. Maybe you're noticing a little tightness in the hips. Maybe you're noticing your tailbone feeling kind of stiff. Just allow your body knowing it's a supercomputer and is willing to give you data and information anytime that you just pause and listen. Notice I'm lowering my shoulders down. I tend to, when I'm stressed, my shoulders get a little bit tight and tense, so I'm consciously, actively always noticing that and just allowing myself to bring the shoulder blades together and easily letting the shoulders relax down. Nice. So again, we're just getting into our wobbly table, allowing our body's intuition guide us. And then from here, we're gonna go into puppy pose. If you want to join me, you can just keep yourself in tabletop and start to walk the fingertips forward, coming down, bringing the armpits down towards the ground. And you can stay on your forearms like I am. And eventually bringing the forehead down to the mat. But please feel free to take any modifications that you need. And we're tucking the tailbone slightly to create extension from the spine. And allowing the chest to open. Again, checking that the knees are stacked under the hips. Nice. And then we'll come back up on our next breath, our next inhale. And from here, we're gonna come down onto one arm, doing like a half puppy pose, because I really like this feeling of getting into the shoulders. Oh, there's a hawk up there that just flew by. And we'll do the opposite side. And this is my dog Marlo. He's an amazing, helpful energy and grounding my energy. And dogs just are in general, because they are on the ground all the time. And so if you ever notice your dog coming to sleep on your feet like mine does a lot, it's usually because they're helping to ground our energy too. Really good. Okay, so we're gonna come back and now start to do a little core warm up by bringing the navel into the spine and checking that the wrists are under the shoulders, and then start to lift your fingertips up on the right side. And you might need to walk your left hand back so it's more braced under the shoulder. And then you can practice with reaching the right arm forward. Maybe that's feeling like enough balance. And you know, if you're feeling like that's a little too hard on your wrist, you can kind of play around with your weight. Sometimes I need to shift forward and back a little bit. And then if you want to try even more of a balance practice, you can reach your left foot back. And I'm going to be kicking my plant and sending your heel back. Let me shift over a little bit so I'm away from my plant. There we go. Like you're creating a long line of energy from your fingertips and shooting out like Spider-Man, and then all the way out to your heel, sending that energy out through the back of the heel. And then you can, if your wrists are feeling okay with this, tuck and try and tap the elbow to the knee. Sometimes I need to do a little micro adjustments. And if you're not feeling this, it's okay. Just listen to your body. And tapping the knees to elbow. And reaching out. And if you want to try and catch your foot with the hand, you can reach back. And breathing either out of the mouth or out of the nose. And then we'll switch sides. Reaching left arm forward, right foot back. And staying here for a few breaths. Sending that opposing energy out. And then if you want to tap knee to elbow, feel free and do so. And then if you want to catch that left arm around, catch the foot. Beautiful. And I'm just doing some simple warm-ups I do before going to the gym or at the gym, coming into frog squat. And just to help move energy in the body. So in frog squat, if you're feeling like it's tough to get your balance, you can always stay on the tip, on your toes or on the like balls of your feet, of your sole of your foot. I guess it is the underneath the ball mound on your feet. Or you can eventually work your feet down to being flat on the mat. And then you can bring your palms towards your chest to help peel your heart and allowing the seat to fall down towards the earth. And you want like a counteractive stretch where you're actually lifting out of your feet while you're allowing simultaneously your hips to sink down. So it's not supposed to be like just dumping and falling into. It's like a counteractive asana. And then I like to do little half frog pose stretches where I open up the right hip and allow myself to bring movement from either side. So just feeling into what your body might need. And then you can even extend it out, coming into gate pose. So extending out your left leg or right leg rather, if you're flipped on the other side, as it probably is mirroring whichever side you wish to start on. Just bring your wrist underneath the shoulder and your bent leg right outside of the elbow. And then your heel's on the ground. This left hip is open, or whichever leg you have extended is open. Meaning that your hip flexion is up towards, you're flexing your foot, your hip is then rotated outward. And then you can reach your left arm up. And imagining you have this gate opening up in your energetic field. Imagining you're inviting in all the renewing, helpful, and grounding energies, or any of the energy you're wanting in your life right now, today, to help you to feel connected. And then we'll switch sides, bending your left leg and switching, bringing that right foot, or whichever side is the opposite one you started with, if you did the other side. And then checking that your wrist is under the shoulder. Your extended foot is flexed, toes are flexed up to the sky. And then reaching up, opening the gate on the other side. Your gaze can be down, or if it doesn't bother your neck, you can look up. Nice. And we'll come back into tabletop, and then coming down to puppy pose. My poor dog. He's pretty hot today, but he's hanging in there. So again, puppy pose is you're just walking your feet, or your hands forward on the mat, to the front of the mat, and then bringing your forehead down to the mat. Your pelvis is slightly tucked to extend the spine long. And then we'll come back when you're ready. Coming into tabletop, and then extending your hips up to the sky, coming into downward facing dog. You can shake your head out yes or no. And then walking the feet up to the hands, coming into a standing forward fold. Your hips are stacked over the legs, and then we'll come up into a mountain pose, Tadasana. You can bring your hands to your heart center or down at your side. You can set your intention for just this short warm-up, or maybe for the rest of your evening. I'm setting the intention of grounding energy, grounding and integrating energy. And sending a little Reiki. If you wish to receive it, you can just receive. Okay, and then come into mountain pose with arms overhead. And then I usually like to come up to tiptoes and taking a bend. And I keep my self really extended tall before I bend. So I make sure to really not like crunch over to the side. I, with each inhale, extend up tall and then bend from wherever my flexibility of the day is allowing me. So your kneecaps are lifted. We're allowing ourselves to just move through space, however our body's allowing today. Again, extending tall on the inhale, exhaling over to the opposite side. Keeping your right hip squared towards the front of the mat. Right shoulder peeled open. Nice. And then we're going to take some movements, just cutting through, bending one knee and then the other, allowing yourself to really get more into the obliques, into the side body. And then we'll come up to mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold, bringing hands down to the mat. You can shake it out. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, planting the palms down. And you can come down either onto the knees. Usually I do the first couple tabletop position from mountain pose, and then lowering down, bringing the heart down to the mat, bringing your feet, tops of your feet pressed down into the mat, all 10 toenails. You can bring your big toes to touch, and then lifting up at first with the spine, and continuing to breathe. Nice. And then we'll lower down. You can move your legs side to side, windshield wipering the legs to release your low back, and bringing the feet back down. And we'll come up for a full cobra pose. So the palms are under the shoulders and pressing the toes into the mat. Your glutes are active to protect the low back. And then your shoulders relax down, pressing with weight into the palms. And you can do a little side stretch, looking to one side and the other to get a good stretch in your abdomen. And then lowering back down. Nice. And if you'd like to join me in crocodile pose, you can join me. That's my dog Marlo. He's excited because he hears a neighbor dog. And please scratch that. I want to do Sphinx pose. So I'm going to move my mat forward because it kind of got a little bit scooted back. And coming into Sphinx pose. Okay, hold on, that feels great. Let's pause it while we're doing that. Kind of taking an extension to the wobbly table and just allowing your hips to fall down on either side. Allowing your body to just feel into any yumminess it notices and honoring that. And then coming into Sphinx pose, bringing the elbows planted below the shoulders and your fingertips on the mat. And you're gonna claw your fingertips down into the mat to pull your chest forward. Again, your glutes are active. Your feet are actually apart in this pose, so mine are kind of like, 1 foot apart from each other, a little wider than hips distance. And just imagine you're sending your heart energy out, connecting in or receiving. Maybe connecting with the interdimensional symbol of the Sphinx, which is an interdimensional traveler and guide. So if that aligns for you, maybe you've had some lifetimes in Egypt, connect to that Sphinx part of you, the multidimensional part of you. And then you can cross your left, or plant your left palm, left forearm across the mat, and then reach back, catch your right foot, and you can pull your heel down towards your glute. Just coming back to your breath. And then again, planting, coming down, bringing the opposite arm down across the mat, and then catching the opposite foot, bringing your heel towards your glute. I was getting an image of the Saqqara pyramids in my mind as I was mentioning that, so maybe someone's been there, maybe someone has some connection with that. It's like the step pyramids. Coming back into cobra pose, and then into tabletop. And again, coming back into that wobbly table. And then from here, again, we'll come into downward facing dog. We have about 5 or so minutes left, maybe 10, if you're joining me. And then walking the feet up to the hands, coming into forward fold. And shake your tailbone out. And then maybe do an open mouth exhale, taking a big breath in. And then on the inhale, we'll come up for mountain pose. Bringing palms down to third eye and down to your heart center. Coming back in. Inhale, bring arms up, mountain. Exhale, plant the palms down, standing forward fold. Inhale, half lift, hands on your shins, and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then plant your palms down. Coming into a high plank. From here, you can stay in your high plank. You can challenge yourself and hold it if you like with me. I'm gonna hold it for a minute because this is one of the ways I like to get into my core as I'm gonna go do a workout. So I have about 40 seconds left. If you're joining me in high plank pose, your shoulders are over the wrist and your heels are extended back, keeping the hips in line. Hips, heels, and crown of the head all in one line. Pressing tall, pressing away from the mat. Thanks for joining me, y'all. Just moving the energy through our bodies the best way that we know how. All right, we have about 6 seconds left. And then you can bring your knees down. Nice. And then from here, I usually like to go into puppy pose, bringing my elbows, armpits, and elbows down to the mat. And then lastly, we'll do 1 or 2 more asanas. So I'm gonna set up for a side twist, completely forgetting what this variation is called, but anyhow, bring your right arm up to the sky, and then we're gonna thread the needle, bringing the right shoulder onto the mat, reaching the left arm up and around. If you're feeling like there's too much tension on your neck, you can scoot your hips back slightly. And continuing to breathe, come back to your breath. And then wrap the right palm, left palm around, plant it back down on the mat, and then reach the right palm up. And then we'll do the opposite side. Left palm reaches up, and then threading the needle on this side, coming down onto the head and shoulder. If it's feeling like there's too much tension, you can always move your weight back slightly. I'm just enjoying this twist. Nice, and then unwrap the palm, planting it down, and then reaching that arm up, and nice. And then from here, come back in a tabletop. And then we'll come onto hero's pose, but more of like an extended sitting up hero's pose. So this is great for stretching the feet. You can keep your toes tucked. And then just bringing your spine into neutral, allowing your weight to help stretch out the feet. This is just a very gentle, slow flow warm-up that I wanted to share. Typically the stretches I do before going to work out, and also to help me just come into more presence with my body and move the energy through. I trust this is finding you well today, and this reaches those who need it. Great, and then if you want to come into camel pose, you can again keep those heels tucked, press the hips forward, and allow the shoulders to roll back, keeping those hips pressed forward to protect the low back, and your glutes are active, and just feeling the heart opening here. You're welcome to reach back if that feels accessible and catching your feet, or you can just stay as I am, and then we'll sit down onto our seat. Maybe taking some more movements in the spine, allowing yourself permission to take up room to allow your luminosity to expand. And then just start doing anything that feels, allowing yourself permission to do anything that your body's like really calling you to go back to. For me, these like side to side sits are really feeling great. So you're welcome to join me for our last few breaths together here. And then we'll do a seated half fold. Bending your right leg, extending your opposite leg. Your spine aligns with that extended leg. So squaring your shoulders over that leg, extending tall, bringing the belly into the spine to help create room to fold, and then folding forward. And then we'll do the opposite side. Again, extending. Hopefully you're not expanding your spine. Extend the spine tall, bringing the navel in towards the spine. Inhale, open your heart space. Exhale, folding over the opposite leg or the right leg if you're joining me on this side. Bringing the forehead or nose down towards your knee. Nice. And then we'll come up for our last asana that we'll finish in second to last. I guess we'll end in a lying savasana or seated pose, depending on how I'm feeling. But first we're going to set up for reverse tabletop. So bring your wrists with your fingertips facing forward, below the shoulders, and then your seat down on the mat, and you're going to send your hips up to the sky, bringing your hips in line with your knees and shoulders, and then bring your head slightly back if that feels comfortable on the neck to bring it into alignment with the spine. Take some breaths here. Lovely. And then we'll just return back down. And from here, we'll come back into our Sukhasana. Is actually where we'll end, since if I was going to be going to bed, I might end in a lying corpse pose or Savasana. But because I'm going to be going out and doing some exercise, I'm wanting to stay more energized. So we'll just come back to where we started in Sukhasana, taking notice of any changes in the body and in the mind. Coming back to the breath. Feeling that breath move through the belly and through the chest. You can exhale out of the mouth to begin to release some heat from the practice. You can bring one hand onto the belly and one hand onto the heart, allowing your body to feel the weight of that hand on the heart and on the belly. Come back to your normal breath pace. Thank you for joining me today. Sending you all blessings on your path. Sending you all intentions of grounding and support and nourishment from the earth. And from my heart to yours. Namaste. The light and shadow in me sees and honors the light and shadow in each of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know if you enjoyed this gentle yoga warm-up, and if you'd like more intuitive movement and yoga or somatic movement practices. I'm Liz, and it was an honor to have you join me. All right, bye. Sending love.